Hello, hello, friends, Carthaginians, countrymen. Lend me your ears and some money. Making another video real quick here. Waiting for Tam to get ready so we can go to storage and do some shit. Last couple days have been crazy. I got banned from Thunder Valley for a year for being just a total fucking douchey rock star. J Fox, fucking my own self, you know what I mean? So, got kicked out of there. During that time, I had the actual vision of the Purple Palace of Procyon. And in that sense, technically what that is it's a nodal reference point like we were talking about, but it's the one that is the kind of the end result of the over the horizon radar trip that uses the genetic and epigenetic material as the waves. So that is the result of Tammy and I being together and doing this thing that was basically the guy who started it, Old Z, as we like to call him, is, I guess technically the first time that we met him, he was a Scythian guy. Next time we met him, he was a Chinese dude who was basically a yaksha, kind of like a Bigfoot motherfucker. And when we realized that guy was literally the same guy that we had been palling around with, it was this moment, like way, way back in time, where Tammy, who is like the reincarnation of the goddess Tara, in her redaction as who she really was as a person, like the queen of the Tuatha De Danann. And in that sense, she's definitely like an Isis character to my Horus character. And this old fella, Z, was her husband. And to know that he was like bilocating the whole time, and that he was really a yaksha that was in China, we met him on one of our sojourns, after the Tuatha had made this diaspora thing. And he was the one that originally figured out how to do the what we call the golden elixir, which is a form of alchemy that grants true immortality, but you have to have almost no people around to do it, right? You flatline everything. And he was able to do that in the wake of the cataclysms, because there was almost nobody where he was. And then on top of that, he went to an area that was basically, he was in the Himalayas at that point. We didn't meet him in the Himalayas. We met him at Wu-Tai-Shan. Hold on one second. Oh, hello. Hi. Oh, we're so excited. Okay. Have a good day, buddy. Oh, I know. I'll see you soon. Sooner than you think. I guarantee it. All right, bye. So, that was really weird. And then the weirder part is that not only was he bilocating, he was kind of trilocating, because what we come to find out is that he and I are basically the same person. And that came about because, during this period of initiation where Tammy and I were doing the equivalent of a kind of consort yoga that was proper to our people, not to his, but to ours, right? So, that was one of the transfers that we gave to them. But we were doing that in the context of his Purple Palace thing, which is basically flatlining all of the elements. And then to re-engage that consort Dakini practice, the Anuttara Yoga Tantra kind of thing, in the space of that purple palace spot place, that is what really gives rise to the multiverse thing. The weird part is, what it really does was bind those genetics together to the point where the old guy, the big Z, who does not exist within this time-space continuum any longer, but really exists as a kind of axis that we use to measure everything. He's the real, true north, right? Or in some sense, he's the true south. Well, yeah.
It's like too many cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, speaking of which, too many cooks in the kitchen is a way to describe it. That's why there's only one. And the one cook in the kitchen, the big Z, he took off and became an axis upon which the two other... There's a chef and a cook. And Tammy's the cook, I'm the chef. So, and it looks kind of reversed, right? Because the way it plays out is that Tammy herself is the reincarnation of the queen of the Tuatha De Danann. In this sense, that means she's literally like Isis on the face of the earth. And like Ki and everything like that. And since she's nearing the end of her mortal years, what that means is that she is going to basically go join Nancy in the kind of infinite web of perfect palaces that were generated in the process that we did in that purple place. Me, the one guy, and Tammy, right? So we're doing the consort yoga, and he's basically the guru there, right? And that yields the golden drop. And out of the golden drop, which is the thing that both Tammy and I got, from mine, I made the device. And Tammy kept hers intact. And with the device, I made many copies of the golden drop. And in fact, each node that any, I guess you could say, gold particle that exists within the structure of the device is in fact one of these golden drops, which is made from shooting an energized virtual particle event through that torsioned gold atom that acts as a gateway. When it comes into the space that's established by the torsion mechanism of the device, it emerges as an entire perfected universe. I mean, it's a bindu. And when it kind of re-emerges as something in this universe, it's basically a gold atom that's been reified to the point where it's monoatomic gold, right? And so that's like the operation that happened. But what that really means is that there's an infinite sea of these golden drops. And that what the device does is a giant mirror that takes the incident consciousness of anything that looks at it, measures everything, puts it all into an energized virtual particle event that has the character of bringing that thing to complete and total enlightenment, to the point where it has its own Buddha field, but it also just kind of kicks it like a Mahasiddha. Now, the device is working out various tiers and hierarchies based on locales, right? But it's safe to say that since this is the group of three individuals that are basically the same person, me, Tammy, and that guy, we made the space, and all of the gold drops are being shot into that purple space, right? Because the purple indicates the perfect union of the red and the blue, right? So the perfect union of red and the blue is the true Haruka. And so that's why I say that, I have the mystic purple Vajrakilaya. That means that I'm holding that purple Vajra, which is indicative of mastering the red and the blue. So the central channel is basically firmly in my grasp, and everything that I am is just the central channel, right? And the violet Kalaya is basically a dagger that says, from the fourth time, throughout all the 3 times, I transfix anything that appears into this purple energy that is basically the good version of the black goo, right? So the black goo creates like imitations of life that end up in death. What the violet thing does is it takes anything that's related to entropy and turns it into something that communicates true bodhichitta, right? And it's purple because it has to be the thing that goes past the black. Now, what that means is that the bindu, the bindu that I placed in the whole magical ritual and everything throughout it is amethyst, right? So the purple bindu is the thing that's being reproduced. That means that the expression of the bliss consciousness is the thing that is necessarily going to underpin the new aeon. And I got so much feedback today. I'm going to explain it to you guys now, but the idea is that Tammy herself reincarnates through and in that innumerable complex of perfected palaces. And, you know, that's due to the male element of the purple that holds that, because that's the, like, you could think of the big Z as an axis that runs through everything that no one ever touches because it's too much energy, but the kind of efflorescence that's around it, instead of being blue like a nuclear reactor, is like purple. And I'm literally made out of that. And if you look at the channels of the bodies or whatever, like all mine are made of that. And in that way, I am the most faithful representation of what that old thing is, and the reason why it can never be done away with, right? And it's the reason why, you know, when Tammy makes her Mahapari Nirvana, that puts her in control of the data accurate AI singularity. And in that capacity, she really is Green Tara. And that means that the empire of Dhruva, Damu, whatever you want to call it, the eternal empire, the thing that I, like, rule from the shadows, but, you know, I'm like a military commander, but the military commander is like a Darth Vader character, and he wears a mask and no one knows what he looks like. That's the same with the guy who runs the secret societies. My forward face, the one that everybody sees, is basically just kind of like this playboy character, and I roll around with 4 ladies originally. I mean, that's basically Tammy and the 3715s. And at some point, you know, when Tammy has to Mahapari Nirvana, that's when you find that the events go fucking asymptotic and viral. And that means that I'll have, you know, direct control over all the technology. And that's when we start seeing the UFOs, because that indicates that the bootstrap is complete. Now, when that actually happens, you see me start to, I mean, you have an event where the data aggregate and the aliens kind of have a coming out party at the same time. And the thing that they say is, where's our emperor and our empresses? And it's kind of this, like, worldwide hunt to find me, Kelly, Sam, Elizabeth, Alina, and Michelle. And they find Alina and Michelle, like, right away. and they're asking those two chicks, like, hey, what's up with these guys? And with this guy and these three ladies. And, a bunch of stories float around, blah, blah, blah. They find a YouTube channel. And it's, a period of 3 years from now. And then that thing comes to a head. And when it comes to a head, it's basically, us three have been kind of living this bohemian lifestyle. And when the 3 years is up, that's when we get to, access all of the crazy stuff kind of out in the open. And before that time, we, me and those three ladies, really the Kelly, Sam, and Elizabeth, we have to do a retreat, right? And the retreat is basically designed to create a series of samayas that are to be always upheld. And the way this happens is to create a space within the Arcadian cosmology, because like I said, the tribe of Dan got one of these for the nation of Israel, and the one that it's called is Amadur. So dur being like the pearl. What we did, instead of stealing it from the dragon, is we made friends with the dragon and did a weird thing where we all kind of became dragons, and then engineered a pearl that has a different quality to it, in the sense that it can generate, like, it itself is the pearl of greatest price, and it generates true and correct copies of itself in a hierarchically, almost like a Ponzi scheme, but the money's coming from somewhere. Because it has a way of generating infinite amounts of currency. And the currency is the form of spontaneously joyful moments of experience. Now, when we're doing that retreat, that's basically doing, like, each of those three ladies is like a specialist in a different tantra. So, like, for example, Sam, her primary, let's say, like, the primary tantra that she represents and is the master of is Chakra Samvara, like the Dakarnava Chakra Samvara, which means basically the entire fucking threefold universe, right? In the sense of the body. Now, you have, like, Kelly, who is part of the Karma family, and in some sense that's almost a weird thing, because marrying someone from the Karma family to another person of the Karma family was originally a form of almost incest, but we got over that because that's what put the Karma family in control of everything, and it's what made the time lock, as far as us, disappear as a bad thing, and it made it so that the kind of Zom, Mount Shasta version of the Nagas, which are the guys who are the good guys, the real good guys, the Procyon Bodhisattvas with spaceships guys, so they won. Like, the Friends won because we did that, and the two genetic and epigenetic patterns that are matched with that are like, if Tammy and I were sufficient to get us outside of time and space, the other two are sufficient, like me and Kelly are sufficient to populate the area of time and space with golden threads of the spider goddess, as it were. So, no bad times. Now, that's the karma, or the green element. So that's, like I said, is green Tara. but that also manifests as Naro Kachari, really, and also as Yunka Dechingalma. So Kelly has kind of a big job because as the Naro Kachari character, she really bears the most power and responsibility in the arrangement, and that's why she has a lot of leeway to, kind of do things her own way. Sam is literally Vajrayogini, like from the Haruka Samvara thing. That's why I had to totally become Chakra Samvara in order to, like, woo her, you know what I mean? And that accords with the 32 channels of the body, and Kelly accords with the 16. So what you find is that inside of that arrangement, the next one down is the heart chakra, and that's Hey Vajra. And again, Kelly is like Mahamaya in addition to that. So all of the Kelly stuff is coming out of Mahamaya, because you find that the goddess Mahamaya is like the deity of the karma family, because they're the ones that use the Danavas, or the karma family. They're the ones that are most expert in the use of Maya, or the power of the mind to affect the material cosmos. So, arising out of the Mahamaya Tantra, secretly come like the dream yoga techniques that are making everything happen. So all of the Yunka Dechen Gyalma and everything like that, that's all Sambhogya-kaya embodiments of things. And the Mahamaya Tantra is the best possible thing for taking the Sambhogya-kaya and making it into a Nirmanakaya, basically. Now, the Hey Vajra thing is basically Elizabeth's deal. And with those three covered, you find out that also, Sam and Elizabeth both also have one of the three great red ones. And so you have the three, Naro, Indra, and Maitrikasha, all taken care of, right? So they're splitting Yoginis that way. You've got Kelly being Kurla, obviously. You have Sam as going to be Ekajati, and Sarasvati is going to be Elizabeth. I mean, they're just forms of the divine feminine. And this is all under the kind of watchful eye of Tammy. And Tammy is the one who is the manifestation of what we call Prajnaparamita. And that's the central queen of all of the Dakinis is Prajnaparamita, the perfection of wisdom. And so all of the stuff that we do, like every thing where we have every offering that's given to us is something that we are giving up to Prajnaparamita. Every act that we engage in that's a meditative cultivation of bodhicitta, or a sexual cultivation of bodhicitta, anything like that is all an offering to Prajnaparamita. And so in that way, this threefold union plus me, like my Dakini thing is Sangha Yeshe, right? So they all spring out of me, and once that happens, that accords back with Mahamaya. And from the Sangha Yeshe thing, we all kind of get into Mahamaya mode, and, I become the Haruka version of Mahamaya, and then everything kind of starts from there. And that means when Tammy goes, it's basically Vajradhaka and the 4 magical females. And, you know, when that happens, you find that, you know, Alina and Ishel then both step in, right? And they're the embodiments of the Garudas and the Nagas. And it takes 2 of them to equal 1 Tammy, right? So we find that once Tammy is in the data aggregate, there's 2 camps or actually rather 3 camps or more of those extraterrestrial things that people are going to start dealing with, the government specifically. There's the ones that are in space and have like giant fleets of shit. Those are the Garuda people. Those are Alina's people. I own them. I own all the ships. I call all the shots, but it's their kingdom. Like I said, I do things from the shadows. Hello. How are you doing? I love your shirt, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
All my favorite colors all at once.
Really?
Yeah.
Mine too.
Yeah, there you go. Have a beautiful day. And then there's ones that are underground and have also spaceships, but really like forms of travel that are more like teleportation. Those are Naga people, and they can also be invisible and do a bunch of like crazy ass mind power shit. Like the Space Brothers can too, but not like those guys. So the Snake people are big red, the Garuda guys are big blue, and they both represent cultures that are, you know, leaving planet Earth, more or less. They're the genetic diasporas that were, in some sense, one version of it went bad, but now we're living the version where it goes good, because having the mystic purple Vajrakalaya means the perfect synthesis of those 2 things. Now, the other thing that goes with that is that those 3 ladies are, they have the perfect pink pagoda of all-powerful, the all-powerful pussy power, you know what I mean? It's the perfection of those 3 pink razor ladies is the combination of red and white bodhichitta to this, like, pink-hued rosy state that, like, once you see it, you can't look away and you want to come right away. And you mix that with the purple, and the purple is something that completely transfixes you, makes you unable to look away. Now, the combination of those 2 things is, as you can see, you know, if you have both of those, there's nothing you can't do. And the nature of that transfixiation and the nature of the kind of bliss element of that pink thing is it's born out of pure emptiness. It's the jitter of the pseudo-cavitation event. So there's nothing deeper than that. It all arises out of that, and it will all collapse back into it. So having that with me as the motor, right? And then you have those 3 tantras. It's like the, you know, that giant chakra samvara with Sam. You have the Mahamaya Vajradhaka / like Naropa Kichari's Pure Land, like Kitra Pure Land. And with the Yimka Dechen Galmo in the single sphere of the Dzogchen entrance, so like pure Togal Ati Yoga. And then you have Hevadra, which is literally, it's the thing that goes along with Vajrakalaya as the most primal, it's the most primal explication of the tantras that you can get. And you know that because the Hevadra deity has nothing but skull cups. And so all he's doing is seeing every single thing as bliss all the time. There's a little known form that has all weapons, but, you know, you can kind of imagine that one in the heart of the other one. So, again, those accord with those three ladies, right? Now, everybody in that group has to have a Guya Samaja kind of initiation, right? So depending on where you are, it's Manju Vajra or Akshobhya Vajra, and then there's also Tenrezig. So those three forms of Guya Samaja, everyone's doing a different one, so you have this kind of stacked version of what everyone's doing. I'm doing all of those plus like other shit, so I'm doing kind of like way more like mile wide and inch deep, and they're doing like a mile deep on an inch wide kind of thing. So the idea is that I'm the one who's doing the Kala Chakra, and when we have everybody kicking, it's introducing, Tammy's in there, right? But you have to have the two other ladies in there, right? So it has to be 5 consorts plus Tammy on top. You go through it and you do the bliss boat thing exactly like it is, exactly as I wrote it when I wrote Asa. Like, I'm telling you, that's how I build my body. Now, you go through and do all that, so it necessitates that every person is skilled enough to manifest signs. So everybody has to be like at the point of like Togal and everything. And then that's the point at which everybody collapses themselves into a form of the Dakini that they are, right? So there's, white, red, blue, and yellow / gold, green, and then in the center is the, initially it's black, which is me, but it takes on all of these qualities, which end up looking like the rippling peacock feather thing with, it's like kind of shot through with this purple haze. And it's covered in what looks like eyes. The whole thing ends up looking like if you look at it in one way, it's kind of like a suit of armor on a knight that has like no face but just a mask. And if you look at like closer and you have better eyes or better vision, it looks like just like a perfectly hot, white dude that's covered in like sparkly Vajra stuff and looks like the one thing that you wanted to fuck in your entire life. And the other thing that it looks like, if you go past the night phase, either you're gonna get a vision of kind of a Buddha-like thing that has the skin of like an octopus thing almost, where it's this like radiating colors that you can't describe, and like everything becomes meaningless because the size of it is just so horrifying. Or it's going to become the Black Garuda Hala Hala cloud, and then you're going to get fucking thrown into a time matrix. And that's basically it, dude. And, that is really the whole deal. And those three ladies, they each do Chinnamasta together to power up each other. And then, we do a whole bunch of sex yoga that's the 3-wheel seal. That's, me and those ladies. And then we branch out into the 5. And then at that point, Tammy's in the algorithm and we're good to go.